Well, as you can see, I'm outside, and you're about to join me doing something that I think most of us have been doing an awful lot of lately, and that is going for a walk. Now, I have to apologize to my dog, Jane, if she's listening to this live stream, because her ears probably just perked up and she probably ran to the door because she heard me say going for a walk. Sorry, Jane, we'll do that later. And if I just triggered your dog at home, I apologize for that too. But we have all been going on so many walks lately. And since Easter Sunday, I have had the song In the Garden stuck in my head. And it's the old hymn, and we sang it. The chorus goes, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And I've just been thinking, is that what he does? Does he really walk and talk with us? Is that something that Christ followers today can expect? Or is it just sentimental hyperbole? What's really going on there? I've been wrestling with that. I'm not sure what your answer to that is, but during the upheaval and trauma of this COVID-19 season, I've been asking the Lord, what is going on? What is this all about? Can you please speak to me? And then I'll rush off to all the busy things I have to do. I have been so busy this month. I feel like some people are saying, well, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, but I've been really busy. But some of it, I think, is like the stress cleaning kind of busy, where you're trying to avoid just some inner turmoil or some pain, some fear, and you're staying busy. You do anything at all costs to avoid the silence, to avoid your anxious thoughts, to avoid your fears. Even working like long day, late into the night, and then turning on the TV and watching shows even later just to keep yourself distracted from having to face it all. And I don't know, maybe you can relate to some of that. Maybe you know some good shows I should be watching. But the fear of what is going on in our world is paralyzing. There's times that I want to get things done and I just feel frozen. But there's really two kinds of fears that I think we're facing, and one is the fear, of course, of COVID-19 and that we might lose someone that we love, or that we might lose our job or our income. But there's another fear, and that's one I want to talk about today, and it's the fear that, well, it's like the fear of silence. It's the fear that if we reach out to the Lord and try to walk and talk with Him, that there'll just be nothing. There'll just be silence, and we'll just be left on our own. And hold on a second. We're going to say hi to somebody here. This is Heather Van Reenen, one of our deacons. Hey, Heather. I'm recording a message for Sunday, so you're on.
So good to see you.
Have a great
Josh.
walk. So, yeah, Heather and Derek live in the same neighborhood as I do, and you might see a couple more familiar faces on this walk, or people looking at me really weird, like, what are you doing with a selfie stick in the morning? But I feel like we're so afraid, I know I am, of reaching out to the Lord and just hearing nothing, especially in this traumatic season. And honestly, we're already so shaken by COVID-19. There's this sense that we can't afford to be shaken by hearing nothing from the Lord. And so maybe some of us are avoiding reaching out to the Lord during this season. That's not true for all of us. I've heard amazing stories of people that already have just been connecting with the Lord in deeper ways than ever before, because there's this renewed sense of how much we need Him. But I do sense that the Lord is saying to us, just stop. Be still. The whole world is on pause. Put the fear of COVID-19 aside for a moment and face the fear of whether or not I, the Lord, will walk with you and talk with you. Remember, Jesus said over and over to His disciples, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. He would always say that. And I think the Lord is saying that exactly to us. Don't be afraid. I want to meet with you. Don't be afraid that I won't show up. It is a legitimate fear, though, I have to say. I remember a time when I was 10 years old and I wanted to hear from the Lord. I just got it in my head that I was going to hear from the Lord. And I got up early in the morning and I prayed and I listened. I remember exactly where I was. And I got to tell you, I heard nothing. And I was heartbroken. And I had to go to school. I got on my bike and rode to the bus stop. And honestly, I just cried the whole way because I hadn't been able to hear from the Lord. I was so disappointed. But there was another time when I was 12 and I was on a mission trip in Germany, and I remember walking outside in the evening after a worship time and sitting on this bench under a tree. I was by myself, and I was just sitting up there looking up into the sky, thinking about the Lord, and this white flower came floating down out of the tree and landed on my shirt. And I just was overwhelmed with this sense of the Lord's love for me. It was the opposite of that other experience, and it was precious to me, so encouraging. The Lord met me there. I imagine you've probably had one or the other kinds of experience as well, and are maybe thinking of your own stories. The scriptures give us both accounts, different situations as well. In 1 Samuel 3, we read that in those days, the word of the Lord was rare. There were not many visions. But by the end of the chapter, it says, the Lord continued to appear at Shiloh and spoke to Samuel there through the word. So there are seasons, I think, in life when, I don't know, it's really hard to hear from the Lord, and there's other seasons that he seems to speak. And I think this is a season that he wants to speak to us. There's another word that I think is appropriate for this time. It's from Hebrews 3, verse 7 through 8, and it says, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as they did in the rebellion during the time of testing in the wilderness. I wonder if the Lord is testing our hearts during this season to see if we will listen for his voice, if we'll turn to him. I love how Paul puts it in Acts 17, verse 27. It's one of my favorite verses. He says, God did this, meaning making all of creation and humankind and all these many nations. He did this so that they would seek him and perhaps reach out for him and find him. He is not far from any one of us. Deuteronomy chapter 4 affirms this promise, saying, seek the Lord and you will find him if you seek him with all of your heart and all of your soul. What a beautiful promise. So for the remainder of this message, I want us to switch gears, and we're going to look at John chapter 20 and 21 at the resurrection accounts of Jesus, where he appears and he walks and he talks with his followers. And I think there's something in there that can apply to our season and our lives, our walk with the Lord. So thank you for going on this little walk with me, and I'll pick back up with you in just a minute in a different location. See you then.